Tom's shoes. Problems within the Tom's organization. Everybody's heard the saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. That's what Tom's is doing. By giving shoes, they're not learning anything. They're just getting shoes and then moving on, but they're not teaching themselves how to overcome poverty. In a blog by Personal Diaspora, they related Tom's to paternalism. The definition for paternalism is it creates dependency, removing the responsibility from the poor to provide for themselves some unknown outside source. In this case, Tom's is the outside source. Today I'm going to tell you about a promotion that we should give to Tom's. My sources are triplepundit.com, personaldiaspora.com, causeandeffect.org, olaberte.com, soulrebelsfootwear.com, untappedmarkets.ca, and goodreads.com. The need is to implement Tom's factories into the countries that it gives to. And a quote by John Bunyan, he says, "You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can repay you." Research was done by Garth Frazier. It wasn't for Tom's, it was for like a clothing company, but it's closely related to shoes. And it showed that in Africa, a 40% decline in production and a 50% decline in employment happened after an outside source started helping their country. And Tom's also does help in Africa. An article by The Nation, over a span of 14 years, 543,000 textile workers lost their jobs, and 150 companies shut down due to outside aid because with the outside aid, people weren't spending as much because they were getting free things. And another example, Untapped Markets posted pictures in Ghanaian where shoes were being sold, but since Tom's was giving shoes, these companies weren't making any money. And so even more money was being lost, so poverty rate was going up. In a blog by Kelsey Timmerman, he stated, "The problem isn't that people don't have shoes, it's that they don't have the means to buy shoes." And Tom's causes even more jobs to be lost. The need for Tom factories is real, and a practical view is going to be shown in my proposal. By implementing Tom's factories into the countries that it gives to, the parents of the kids that are receiving the shoes are going to have a job to make the shoes that they're being given. So even though Tom's is still helping with the shoes, which is what their company is based on, they're still gaining money and helping out their economy. Similar organizations to Tom's exist in other countries, and I will show you how those work, showing that Tom's factories would work. There's an organization called Olaberte Footwear. Olaberte makes shoes in Africa using local materials. The company sold 9,800 pairs in just 2 years. Their shoes are made in Ethiopia, and they source from cows and sheep and goats. That's what they make their leather for their shoes out of. Olaberte partners with factory suppliers and farmers that are also in Africa so that they're buying from other people, giving them money while still making shoes. Soul Rebels is another company that does this. It employs 100 workers, and it pays 4 times the minimum wage of pretty much everywhere else, 3 times the industry average wage for similar work in Ethiopia, plus covers work and healthcare costs, which most companies don't do that. Soul Rebels has proud wages that are on the average 4 times the legal minimum wage and 3 times the industry working age. With Tom's Shoes factories, this is going to give the parents jobs, put more money into the economy, which is lowering the poverty rate, but still giving shoes, which is what Tom was made for. Soul Rebels stated that our wages on average are 233% higher than the industry average, 4 to 5 times the legal minimum wage. So this is showing with that much good stuff happening from these countries, that same thing is going to happen to Tom's. As stated earlier, Olaberte sold 9,800 shoes just in their first 2 years. So you can imagine how many shoes that Tom's would still be giving while gaining money for these countries. And a quote by Bethlehem Tilawan, the founder of Soul Rebels: "If you give a kid shoes, they wear out or grow out of them, and then what do they have? If you give the kids' parents a job, the whole family will always have shoes. And in conclusion, these countries' poverty issues are very serious. Trump is doing great things, but didn't necessarily think of the repercussions. I want y'all to help me to put this thought out there to Tom so that we can change this and help many people around the world. And if y'all don't help me, then our word's not going to get out there, and this just isn't going to happen. But if we do, if we make it happen, they're going to make money, and they're going to lose all their poverty. The end. You understand? Okay. You all just did it.
Yeah.